Did the cohort help you at all? Are you part of any cohort?
I was part of cohort too, but it helped me a lot. To be honest, everything that I did in the freelance job that followed the cohort was basically because of the cohort. Otherwise, I would have not been able to do it.
Today we have Ruben, who graduated in 21 but did his degree in data science, did not really get a job in data science, then slowly started his freelance journey and now has been freelancing for around 2 years. He'll talk about, let's say if you're from a non-technical background, if you've not done a CS degree, but you wanted to get into computer science, how can you either get a job? What's a little more tougher is, getting good freelancing gigs over a sustained period of time. How can you target those? What kind of learning curve should you have? How do you approach clients? What kind of interviews do you have? What kind of money you can make? All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new pod. Today we have Ruben. Can you start with an introduction?
So, hi, I started with data science. It was a normal engineering degree, and we didn't learn any computer science. They only taught us like statistics and Python. Not helpful at all. Around my last year of graduation, like in 2020, in my last year, last semester, the college basically forced us to do an internship because तब तक मैं थोड़ा मतलब इतना खास नहीं था पढ़ाई में, थोड़ा कम ही मतलब पढ़ाई में ध्यान था. फिर ड्यूरिंग द इंटर्नशिप इज व्हेन एक्चुअली द बीस्ट इन मी केम आउट बिकॉज आई सडनली बिकेम लाइक द बेस्ट कोडर इन क्लास. बिकॉज इंटर्नशिप में जब हमको वो लोग ने टास्क देना चालू किया तभी everyone realized कि the tasks are not related to data science at all. And since I didn't know anything either ways, I was very happy to learn from scratch and just do it on the go. So that helped. And that was like a 7-month internship. After that, we graduated. Around the same time, I started working on my own, like a startup. The startup experience was very valuable. I mean, I did everything like marketing, writing, development. Initially, I didn't know how to develop, so we had 2 people to help us out. Then eventually, I learned from them, like observing them, and then I picked it up how to build websites and all. And eventually, the second product that we built was entirely made by me. So that's where my learning happened when I was building out a product. It was like an ERP solution. And while I was building that out, I had to kind of quit randomly. Like we were 1 month away from launch. We had a client and stuff. It was going good, but I had to quit because my dad fell ill and like he was admitted to the ICU and all. And he was in the ICU for 6-7 months. So I didn't have the energy to work. So during that time, I was not working on my startup. I was just sitting at home, and everyone in my family was kind of forcing me to do something. कि घर मत बैठ, कुछ तो कर ले. Like just make yourself busy. That's when I started taking up freelancing gigs. And I just started with Upwork. The market was high, I think, 2022. It's very easy to get jobs. And I got my first client very easily, like in a month. I think he was my third client, but he was like pretty stable, like easily earning 1.5 lakhs a month. That went on for like 6-7 months. After that, I left him because I felt like I've outgrown that place. After I left him, I wanted to do a startup, but kuch kar nahi paya. Like I was just sitting at home and like just planning. Nothing happened. And I did some freelance gigs in between during that entire year. This is 2023, but nothing too significant. Then around 2024 is when I actually, put a foot down and said, okay, this startup thing is not happening. Because I need to start making money now because by that point I had burnt all my savings from freelance. So now I decided to like build a portfolio and start looking for like long-term clients or long-term projects. And I wanted like a job itself, but not job. Like I didn't want to go to some Indian company 9 to 5. So initially I got a client, US client. I worked with him for some time. And around the same time, I found a Japanese company on Upwork. And they ended up hiring me initially as a contractor, freelancer, and eventually like in Jan this year, I started working for them full time, maybe around Jan or December. So yeah, right now I'm with them, and I'm actually working as a tech lead here. So like the job role is also quite interesting.
Got it. Very, very interesting. How did you? So Upwork in 2024, I would assume, isn't the best place to find jobs. So
No.
how did you? Was it luck? Was it something else that got you into this company?
I'll say a lot of luck, but I think I know how to sell myself. That's one thing I've learned. So Upwork for me has always been relatively easy, and you can I mean, anyone watching can just check out my profile on Upwork. It's very bad. Like, I don't have a lot of earnings. I don't have any of those gold stars, but I still managed to get the jobs. And I think that's just something I've picked up over the course of applying.
Got it. Very cool.
But
So
a
this is
lot
the-
of luck.
Got
A
it.
lot of
Makes
luck.
sense.
Yeah.
Is this the only job you're doing right now? This is a Japanese company.
Yeah.
Got it. Do you mind sharing a compensation range or even exact compensation if you're comfortable?
Exact, maybe not. It's like a fairly big startup, like 20 plus engineers. But roughly, I think I'll say it's above. Okay, let's say it's around 50 grand.
50 lakhs, you said?
50 grand USD.
50 grand US,
So
like 40
so
lakhs.
that's 40.
Got it. Very cool. Remotely from India. Now I want to
Yeah.
understand interview process. Like how did they interview you on Upwork?
Interview was pretty chill. Like, I don't think they asked me any technical questions. He just got on a call with me. The CEO got on a call, and I think he just asked me about my, like, what do I know, my story and all. And eventually he's like, "TK, you have the job." And then I asked him a question like, "Why me?" Because even I was curious, like, how did you just give me the job? And all he said was like, mainly because the time zone, because you're close to ours. That's the main reason.
Right. Does Japan lack a lot of tech talent? I've heard this a lot, but I'm not really sure. Is that true?
Yeah. I
All right.
mean, I like I got promoted to tech lead because of how bad their tech teams. I don't want to say bad, but it's just the experience that they have is not enough to ship like production. So they are very focused on ML, but in the end, like ML is not like Python is not like production ready at all. There's a lot of gap, huge gap.
Got it. And so are you saying the gap is in, most people know theoretical things and build models, aren't able to build products? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think so. Like they're really good with research stuff, I think.
Got it. Makes sense. How does the communication look like? Do you need to learn Japanese? How is it working in a Japanese company?
I don't need to learn Japanese, but a lot of our communication, like there is somebody in between who's translating it. So the PMs are like, no, I mean,
Really?
they're not translating it live, but the PM basically talks to the client in Japanese, makes a document, and then either he or somebody else then translates it to English. So it's like really Japanese.
Got it. But amongst your team, like when you're interacting with the team, is that a challenge?
Not a lot. It is sometimes, but not a lot. We converse in English, so, and a lot of our team is from India as well.
Okay. How many people from India?
I don't have an exact number, but I think permanent employees maybe around, I want to say maybe less than 10.
Less than 10.
Less
Got it.
than 10, yeah.
Amongst the 20 tech people
Yeah.
that you have. Very interesting. Are you hiring more right now, or is it not?
I think they just hired. We just hired last week.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. Whenever you're hiring, just send me a ping on WhatsApp. I
Yeah.
would like to refer a few people. I also would like to know the path of getting into Japan for people. I've worked in Japan, but that was through a very non-replicable way. So I have a few students who've gone there, but I'm just curious because I think I've heard this a lot. They lack tech talent. They also pay decently well. Maybe not if you're living in Japan. Definitely great if you're working remotely from India. But I just want to understand that path better. So if you could help me somewhere, that'd be great. If you understand, if you get any alpha around hiring companies in Japan, would love to know more. Cool. So where do you live?
I live in Mumbai.
Oh, Bombay. Very cool. 40K, 50K is probably not enough for Bombay, is it?
I mean, born and brought up here, so no rent. I
Okay.
mean, living in my parents' house.
Works out. Sahi hai.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Technically, what are you using on a day-to-day basis? Like, what does your day look like?
So usually it's React, but that's the easy part, like React, Next.js, front and back end. I think the hard parts here are the infra, AWS, Azure, Cloud, GCP. Like I've worked on all three extensively. Most of our projects are usually like AI based, LLM assisted, all that stuff. So a lot of that. I think there was one project that also had a lot of voice synthesis, I want to say. I think we were using some Japanese voice box thing. That was very interesting. So very different. Mainly, so the company is mainly into consulting. And then they are also trying to build out like a product division. So they are experimenting and trying to build some products. So I'm working on both right now.
Got it. You mentioned infrastructure. Like, are you guys like deploying your own models, or it's just standard Web2 infrastructure?
A mix of both. So for clients, it's just standard stuff, like just using OpenAI or whatever is best suited. And for our own internal products, we are experimenting with our own model. So there's a internal product we are building. It's kind of a OCR thing, but it's very, very specific and niche to Japan, to Japanese clients. So that is like a custom model.
Got it. That's very cool. सही है. So, what does the team from India sort of look like? Are these experienced people? Are these freshers? What are their job roles?
Okay, so the most interesting part is I am 25 and I'm the oldest person in the company.
Oh wow,
The
that's amazing.
CEO is I think 24. The devs are like 21, 22, 19, stuff like that. I think the consulting division, the CTO, I think he's Indian. I don't know if he's the CTO or he's the consulting CTO. I might be confused, but yeah. So our team is very interesting group.
Very interesting. Yeah, that's so. All of your colleagues then in college right now, considering they're 19, 20.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Very cool. सही है भाई. Did this company start recently, or like,
I think so. Not very recently. I think a year back. Maybe more than a year. I think the story was something like they had a product that went viral, like 200K users, and they got funding and then they funneled that money into consulting. The product eventually died out and consulting went forward.
Got it. That's amazing. Pretty cool journey, buddy. So yeah, I think that's all the questions I have. Do you want to add something for people who, I mean, luck played a little bit of role here, but other than that, like, luck isn't enough.
I mean, for getting jobs, I feel like there is definitely a formula. Luck is the biggest factor, but I mean, if you try for long enough, luck will hit you. That was always my strategy. Like, especially with Upwork, you get to see all the metrics. किसने खोला, किसने पढ़ा, किसने reply नहीं किया. So you can just study that and keep tweaking your proposal, for example. I think the same thing you can apply to when you poll DM or when you apply to jobs. You might have to develop some formula on your own, but it's definitely doable, I feel. I think one question I have for you about the age. Is it really hard to, like, is there really a age problem in tech? Like after 30, is it hard to hold a job and stuff?
It's not that exactly, it's something else. It's like, so tech as a field, जो मेरी understanding रही है अभी तक, it's like you can put people on a rating very similar to chess, and then you can see them grow over years. And what happens in chess also, number of years isn't enough. Like a lot of people are 40 but still stuck at, let's say, 1200 rating. A lot of people are 8-year-olds and then they're at whatever grandmaster level. Same is true here. So unfortunately, the way it works is there's like a very big power law. Okay, most people are not able to go above a certain level, and you see this very often in FANG levels. Okay, most people plateau at an L5, and that's now considered as a terminal level. That means you will not get fired, but you'll stay at a terminal level forever. So that is what happens. Now it's a little more brutal in startups. Okay, of course, if you're at a terminal level, they'll probably fire you if they're seeing 10 years of experience and then 10 years of experience worth of salary expectations, but not enough outcome. So that will definitely happen. It's a brutal field in the sense it doesn't have regulation for, as you grow old, which happens in a government job or whatever, wherever. So it's either a constant state of anxiety in trying to upskill and finding other jobs and making sure you're providing value, or you just really like computer science and so it happens naturally. So one of these two things you will understand in a year or two of learning. Do you actually like programming? And if that's the case, then you will hit it. It will not really matter. And even if it doesn't hit, you'll build something of your own. You'll find avenues to monetize your skills. And even if you don't like jobs, you can go into niche fields where a lot of people who are at the, let's say, 800 level in chess or whatever 1500 level are not able to understand only. Good example might be lower level code, assembly code, C code. That is a very valuable skill in various industries, but trading being the biggest one, or HFTs being the biggest one. Same is true for research in machine learning, I think. तो वही है.
What
Yes,
are your thoughts on machine learning research, ML?
if you go for ML or a PhD, it's actually super lucrative. I don't know what these guys are working on. So I have a friend that I met recently. He did his PhD from UMIC, And uska jo professor tha, his professor only started a startup. They raised some $230 million. They have 20 customers, but they've raised like crazy, purely based on, something that they're building in an industry that became very hot very quickly. That is not true for another friend of mine who was doing vision, because vision eventually, whatever problem you were solving is now solved through visual transformers. So if you were at the right place at the right time, it became very lucrative even for an average person. If you weren't, then also it's fairly lucrative. But again, I'm talking about my batchmates who went to a UMIC or a Georgia Tech or a
Yeah.
Berkeley. So probably not everywhere power law applies. And I think, well, yeah, I don't know if it's better or worse in research. But yeah, if you go for a Berkeley, if you go for a PhD, even for a master's, I think you'll do well. Most of my batchmates, at least, who went for research, are, if you look at their average and the average of people who stayed in India or went on a FANG, I think research people are doing significantly better.
But the subset is so small, like research में jobs ही कम है.
I agree. Jobs ही कम हैं, जो लोग गए हैं वो कम हैं, number of people who are able to get PhDs वो भी कम है, and maybe that's why the average there is doing so well. I'm sure that's probably not true for tier 3 college people who went to a, I don't know, a Purdue or a TAMU, and are now struggling, or maybe aren't even at 100K. In India, people, at least my batchmates, are at 100K. Most of them are making 80 lakhs to a CR easy. I would say if not 100% of them, at least 70% of them are here. So if you had to go for a master's, spend so much money, and after that also if you're at 100K in the US, then of course staying back in India would have made more sense. But you can't really quantify everything. Like experience is also a thing. Going to the US is also a thing. There's a different culture there. So, you can't put a price on
Yeah.
everything. But if you put a price on everything, then well, yeah. I personally, if I had a choice, if I could go back in time, I'd probably go for research. I'm assuming I'd be in the top of the power law and doing really well. You can't predict that, but I would have gone for it. Yeah.
Web3 cohort. And so here's the doubt I have. I really wanted to get into Web3. I got on a call with a YC founder, Web3 company, raised, like unka token was worth 300 million at that point. I don't know the company name, बहुत बड़ा company था. But they rejected me because they were like, you don't have experience in Web3. Everything else is perfect, but seems like you're early in your journey. Now my problem is, I am so far ahead in my journey, like 3-4 साल हो गए graduate होके. When I will never have experience in Web3 by this standard. And अगर मैं already इस pay scale पे हूँ, another Web3 company को convince करना without any experience to give me this. So I'm finding it easier to like stay here. Is that me being complacent, or am I thinking right?
You're thinking right, but also you don't need what company, like what blockchain were they on? Do you know?
So I think they were helping retrieve lost coins. I think that was their moat. They were not a crypto, but they had their own reserve, some currency. I mean, they had their own token, and their whole thing was that you sign up on our platform, and if the exchange gets hacked, we will retrieve your coins.
Got it.
Yeah.
If your exchange gets hacked, so it's a
Yeah.
B2B product. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, this would probably involve all chains. So it's not too difficult to get. Not it is difficult to get Web3 experience on your go, but by experience I mean projects. So well, yeah, I would follow a similar path. There are a lot of open source Web3 projects. Almost every other protocol is open source. It's a challenge
Okay.
learning them.
Sorry, interrupting. Just keep in mind that I'm already kind of working in this AI. Not field नहीं बोलना चाहिए, but applied AI तो कर ही रहा हूँ. तो मेरे पास ये है already. So I don't need to like leave that for a lower. I mean lower नहीं बोलना चाहिए, but for another thing.
Yeah. So pick and choose. Like it depends on if Web3 fascinates you. Web3 has bigger offers. That is true. Same is true for ML, honestly. But I think Web3 smart contract engineer and ML researcher can get similar offers. It's harder, I think, to get in as an ML research unless you've done research or whatever. Paper छपे या कुछ. It's easier to do that in Web3. So if you're looking for 100K plus offers or 200K, 250K offers, I can tell you companies जहाँ पे I had 250K का offer. There's this company called Third Web whose code is open source, and I had a 250K cash plus 150K equity offer from them, 2023. So if contributing there is probably a starting point, and they cover all chains like Solana, Web, Ethereum, other blockchains. So maybe that's the first step. That would have given you enough proof of work for whatever interview you had, and then you can go from there.
And are you saying there is no equivalent of Web3 or ML pay scale in the normal
Web
full
to
stack
world.
web.
There probably is. Like there are enterprise companies. Startup probably not. Like startup pre-revenue, pre-seed, seed will probably. The only reason they're hiring from India is to save costs and significant costs. Even 50K feels like a stretch to them.
Yeah.
But enterprise companies, maybe like a Brex, or if it hires from India, a Stripe, or even like there are a lot of no-name enterprise companies as well. But I would assume B2B companies would. I wouldn't assume B2C companies or smaller companies would pay as much immediately. Yeah.
Got it.
Anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you so
All
much.
right. It was so nice talking to you. Yeah. If I come to Bombay, would love to catch up in person as well.
100%.